Everybody, welcome back to the Winner's Circle. I'm Derek Lavasser.
And I'm Cody Calafieri.
And this is going to be what are we in, week 5?
Week 5.
That's right, week 5. And we're actually pretty excited because Cody and I we both got our iPads up and running, or you got your laptops, your what do you call it, your desktop screen.
I got the monitor
up and running. So we're watching the live endurance comp right now, and they're on the wall. You guys wanted it. They're on the wall. And,
everybody wants the endurance comp.
Who's out right now? Just Derek F so far? Anybody else?
Derek F is the only one out, and then everybody else is still on there right now, covered in slime. I see Hannah has like slime inside of her goggles.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, no, this is
great. This is definitely tough. This is going to be rough.
Yeah, they all look pretty good though. They all look pretty good. Derek X they're all looking solid. Xavier's stretching out a little bit, but we will get more into that. And as we're going through this episode, if there's updates, if somebody drops, we'll obviously let you know. Also, because although the hit list, we have it for this week, I don't know, depending on who drops and who becomes HOH, it could change slightly, right?
Totally.
We could have a spot move here or there,
totally.
Right?
We could see people go down that.
And,
we can see people go down that end up causing somebody to slide in the hit list, because right now it's pretty much based off of where they are in the game and really not necessarily so much on how well they are playing or not playing. It's more so their position in the house.
Right. Yeah, no, listen, it's going to be fun, and we'll be full disclosure with you. As you guys can probably tell, I am filming from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm currently using my iPhone Wi-Fi because the hotel Wi-Fi here is absolutely horrible. And in their defense, can't really blame them because we're streaming high-resolution video, high-resolution, high-definition audio. So I want to apologize if there's a drop in quality or whether it's audio or video. We didn't want to sacrifice this week. I could be doing it from my laptop webcam, but we were trying to bring that same level to you, even though I'm not home right now. But I am at Podcast Movement, learning how to be a better podcaster, and so hopefully some of the things I've learned this week we can implement into the show. Yeah,
it's part of it. Everybody understands. We're Derek's bouncing around right now, but just bear with us this week. It's really more so on the video side. Just bear with us, and we'll be back to our normal stuff with the awesome background that Derek, you spent a lot of time building that, to be honest. You spent a lot of time building that background in your office.
This is not great. This is not great. All right, so let's dive into it. Week 5, we're going to go right through it. Obviously, we saw at the ending of the last episode from the last live eviction, Christian wins HOH. And, we talked about Christian as far as his HOH. He had been targeting a couple people this week. It was pretty consistent on who he was going after. The flip-flopping was more so who was going to be the actual target, right?
Right. It bounced. And at first they said they wanted to go after Hannah because Christian felt that it was better for him. Alyssa felt that it was better for her. Sarah B felt it was better for her. So you heard them kind of talking about Hannah, and Xavier kind of just like falling back a little bit and not really stepping up and saying much. And you kind of saw how it played out. You saw the cookout kind of come together inside of that Royal Flush Alliance and almost like deflect it off of Hannah onto Whitney. And really kind of, I don't even know what they were grabbing at. Their arguments were, to somebody like Sarah, she caught onto it pretty quickly because you could see their arguments were not, there wasn't a lot behind it. Like, why Whitney over Hannah? When Hannah's, they all felt Hannah's a smarter player. Hannah's, she's more intelligent.
Player, hands down.
Yeah, she's more manipulative. So you name all the reasons why you would send somebody home, and then you flip to the other person. So they were making a lot of great points, but at the end of the day, they got the job done. They flipped it.
Yeah, no, for me, and there's somebody else that's sitting on the bench. I think it might be Brittany. Oh no, Brittany's still on the wall. There's somebody else sitting next to Derek F right now. I'll let you guys. Who, I don't know who it was. It looked like it was a female though. Did you see who it was?
I didn't see who it was. I saw it, but I was like talking, and I was like, I didn't want to stop while we were rolling. But then now it cut to. We'll be right back.
We'll catch. We'll catch you back up with that. But for me, what this week really affirmed is what you and I have been talking about for the last couple weeks, which is that the Cookout is by far the strongest alliance in that house.
Yep.
And
Yep.
even though Hannah is clearly, no disrespect to Whitney, clearly a better player than Whitney, they were able to control the house.
Yeah.
They were able to convince people that, hey, listen, even Sarah Beth, you might want it to go your way, but you just don't have the numbers to do it. And here's the thing, with another person going home this week, not in the Cookout, that 6-person alliance
Strong.
is only getting stronger.
Really strong. Because we talked about how under the radar they are and how nobody knows about them, and then we see how much influence they have on the entire house and how they really control where targets are kind of being pushed towards. And now, with only 12 people left in the house, they have full control. As long as one of them is on the block, they have full control. And just a quick update, it is Claire that dropped off of the wall. She is now out sitting next to Derrick Derrick F. I'm sorry.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you before we started the broadcast?
Yeah. You were like, she's 6 feet tall, man. Because I was like, I felt like Claire kind of is like similar to like a Danny. I didn't realize she's 6 feet tall, and so that doesn't help you in this competition at all.
No, tall height. You're stretching your arms. There's no point of relaxation where you're kind of just holding at the length of your arms, and so Claire's out. That doesn't surprise me one bit. She wasn't designed to win this competition. But speaking of Claire, we should dive right into it because we are talking about nominations. But before nominations, we had the wild card competition like we do every week, and this is actually the last wild card competition. So fast forward, it's Claire against, who were the other two that she was going against? It was Whitney and Azza.
Yes.
On the ball going down the thing.
Where
pretty
they
cool
had
competition. It was funny how they
really
edited
cool.
it.
Definitely a tough competition. By no stretch of the imagination was that an easy competition. That was very difficult, and I only know kind of a little bit about it because we had a similar one in that first leg of the HOH competition on Big Brother 22. We had to kind of move the ball around, and that thing that we were moving was very heavy.
Yep.
And so for them,
it's heavy.
With no walls and no barriers, to really kind of be precise and have a lot of finesse with that is not easy. And so it was Claire did, again, just a really good job. She shows that she's definitely good at comps.
Yeah, and Whitney and Azza, God, bless their little hearts. They had no chance at winning that competition. Whitney couldn't get past the halfway point, and Azza was going so slow that she. I think they did her dirty because I'm sure she got further than that, but they only showed her with the ball being right there, which we know the ball went further, but they did her dirty. It's all fun. It's all good. Yeah.
So for some of you that were
that
watching
was funny watching that though. But
just a little bit of insight that Derrick and I know is how the production team on Big Brother is definitely very good at splicing stuff together to make something look however they want it to. And so, sorry, Azza, that happened to you.
She
but
clearly wasn't staring at the. They weren't staring at the. She wasn't staring at the ball for the whole competition.
Did you see her? She was just locked in. She was
like, come on.
Yeah.
But, it almost like it seemed like it was a loop they kept showing.
Yeah, right. The same one. I always am looking for that stuff. I'm always looking for it. I'm like, they just showed the same clip twice. I wonder if anybody else is picking up on that. Like, just some of the small nuances when it comes to production and showing a story and editing really however they want to.
Yep.
They do it better than most. So that's why they're doing it on one of the biggest shows.
Yeah, that's why they're Big Brother.
That's
why that's Big Brother for sure. No, so the competition happens. Claire pulls off the W. You saw it coming. She was very close a couple times.
Yeah.
She wins the wild card competition, and because it's the last one, she's faced with a really, well, not really a tough decision, but it's the biggest prize of the year for sure. Where
so far,
she has the opportunity to save her alliance members for 1 week, which are Kyland and Tiffany, or B, save herself, give herself safety until jury.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I thought it was awesome.
What are you doing?
So immediately in my head, when this happens, like I'm sitting there and I'm watching with Christy, and Christy's like, "Oh my God, she's safe till jury? When's jury?" And I was like, "It's realistically 2 weeks." So she was getting through this week and the next week. So at the end of the day, I said to her, I was like, really, it's instead of 1 week for your whole team and then you could be in trouble, it's 2 weeks for yourself. And she knew that her team was good. They had an alliance member as an HOH. So now, for me, bro, I was looking at that. I was like, ooh, because Claire is definitely I feel like she runs through a lot of scenarios, and she's definitely very calculated in everything she does. For me, it would have been easy. I would have been like this. Hey, we're 2 weeks from jury. I love you guys. Our team is awesome, but I'm definitely saving myself for 2 weeks because we talk about relationships in this house. Think about 2 weeks where you don't have to run around. You don't have to use your paranoia. You don't have to let that get to you because you're nervous about going home before jury. That was an easy decision for me. And I thought you made the right one.
I agree. No brainer. And even Kyland and Tiffany were like, Tiffany said in the diary room, I would have done the same thing. And it is only 2 weeks, but 2 weeks in that house is a long time. Yeah. It's a long time. And it gives you a freedom that, most don't get to experience where you have 2 weeks to play the game the way it's meant to be played, to do it freely and not being scared of making some moves, having some conversations. So 2 weeks for someone like Claire with her level of ability to play the game, that's a long time. All right, so there might be a cut here. We're not going to try to hide it. My technical difficulties, my Wi-Fi is terrible, and I have a strong suspicion it won't be the last time. So we're going to battle through it. We do apologize. The audio seems to be all right. My video may be completely screwed up. We're doing as best we can. So if you happen to see things with my video where it's cutting or whatever, that's because we're making lemonade out of lemons, I guess. All right.
Bro. Lion King for life.
Lion King for life, dude. All right, so we'll go right back into it before my camera blows up. Yeah. So Claire wins the wild card competition. She's given the choice to save herself or save for the till jury or her team. She chooses to save herself. As Cody was saying, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. Her teammates were safe. It's an individual game at the end of the day. She knows that. I thought it was the right move. You clearly thought it was the right move as well, right?
Totally. And when you have other people that could have been saved, like Kylan and Tiffany going into the DR and being like, I would have done the same thing, that's when you know you made a decision that it probably isn't going to come back to bite her in the butt. There's going to be other stuff that really, if it's a cause for her to go home, that probably won't be on the list. So that's always a good thing.
And Kylan and Tiffany being good players, they realized that was the right move for her. So she saves herself. She's safe until jury, which is huge. As I was saying before, technical difficulties, having that 2 weeks doesn't seem like a ton, but it's 2 weeks of not having to worry about saying something that could wind you up on the block. Yeah. So it is a really good feeling to know, hey, listen, no matter what happens, I'm going to be here on finale night. Yeah. Whether it's competing in the final competition or voting, but like making it to the end of the game and not going home as a super fan, I'm sure it was a very big deal for Claire.
Which is probably why it was such a quick decision for her. You know what I'm saying? Like being a super fan of the show and getting to vote or getting that opportunity to be in the final two is super important, and it is really cool. I remember it was something that was brought up a ton on season 16. It was not brought up on All Stars. Everybody was like, either I want to go home before jury or I want to go all the way to the end. But for 16,
because you guys had that guaranteed money,
right? Yeah, that's right. You know the deal. But on 16, there was a lot of conversations with, I just want to get to jury, like I want that experience, blah blah blah. So it's for her, it's definitely, congratulations to her to make it, because that's also a very cool milestone to get to. Also, quick update. Yeah, while we were dealing with the technical difficulties,
hit us with it.
Hannah and Sarah B have fallen off the wall. So.
Yeah, and just as I'm watching it right now, I'm only on three people, but it's Derrick X, Alyssa, and Brittany. Brittany looks like she's struggling. She's doing the hand adjustments right now. Yeah. She looks like she's mentally battling through it, but she's moving a lot. Alyssa, stone cold. Derrick X, bro. He's kind of talking a lot, but he's not moving either. He's stone. No. And again, like we were saying about Claire, their arms are at a good length where they're just grabbing the block that's suitable for their arm length. Where Brittany is kind of like having to like bend one elbow or straighten the other one. So,
and if you look at Kylan,
Brittany's
dude,
in trouble. I can't see.
So he's in camera too.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's a big guy too. Like Xavier and Kylan, listen, they'll have the strength to hold themselves up there for a certain period, and then it'll get very tough on their forearms, their biceps, and their shoulders. Very difficult. So,
did you throw yours? Did you throw your? You were with Nicole. Did you throw it?
Yeah. So it was Tyler.
I know you fell, but I didn't know if you threw it.
No, yeah, it was Tyler, Danny, and Nicole, and I was like, no shot, I'm going on the block. Tyler went down, and in my head I was like, dude, he just threw it. And I was like, I'm not going to sit up here and get the blood on my hands this week. No shot. Because I knew also the kind of players that were up there with me now at this point. I knew Danny was going to look to throw it, and I knew Nicole was going to look to throw it. And so once I saw Nicole go, I was like, oh, my arms are shaking. Down. And Danny was like pissed at me.
I thought you were going to win it. I was telling...
Oh, I was going for it until I saw the people next to me.
I thought you were going to win it.
Yeah, no, I saw the people next to me.
I was like, oh, he's going to win this.
And it wouldn't have been, dude, do you see how you don't know the different things and how different situations can affect your game, but that would have been a horrible week for me to be HOH.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't have been good. It wouldn't have been good. No, you made the right move. It's almost like, you knew what you were doing that season. But that being said, So we have the wild card play out, and then we have the noms after that. We won't go too deep into it. We already talked about it in the beginning. Christian nominated Whitney and Hannah, and throughout the week was the real conversation, again, was not, who'd you put up or who should you put up? It was who's going to be the actual target. Right. I do think for Christian, Whitney and Hannah were the right moves for him. He felt like those two individuals he didn't have a tight relationship with. So, I thought those were good nominations on his part. Obviously, he doesn't know about the cookout or other things like that. But, I think he knew he was leaning the whole time towards. I know Alyssa was trying, they were back and forth. But I think at the end of the day, people wanted to go for someone who didn't have any tight relationships. Right. And that was Whitney. Yeah. Whitney is another person who's a pawn who we've been saying since week one that she was just it was bound to happen.
Yeah, and you're going to start seeing a lot more of that, especially as we get further into this game, where people are going to go up, and you saw a little bit of what the plan was that Tiffany was trying to implement with the group of like the cookout group, and it's a pretty good plan. Have the person next to you, and that's essentially, that's a very good strategic Big Brother play. Have the person next to you that everybody thinks you're closest with, that you can be saved if you're nominated next to, because you have the numbers that you don't want anybody to know you're working with. So really good plan. Obviously, they're implementing it pretty good because all the people that they named as their other person, they're pretty close with, and I think the house sees it that way too. So,
yes,
but yeah,
yes. No, Tiff, and that was they gave a big edit to Tiffany there, and it does seem like from the feeds, Tiffany is controlling a lot. She's a very smart player. Yeah. I would say that as of right now, she's. We're gonna get to the hit list, but she's the best player in the house. But being the best player isn't always what we're basing the hit list on. Yeah. We want to know who's in the best position based on what we're seeing. So the duo thing, like you said, really good strategic move. Yeah. But what you're going to see with these nominations going forward, and Cody, you were HOH a few times, so I'm sure it went through your head. I know when I was HOH, when you start to get later in the game, it's not only about who you're nominating because one of them may stay to come after you. It's looking at the two people you're nominating and figuring out who they have in their back pocket, like who's aligned with them that could also come after you now. And you're always going to choose the bottom of the barrel, right? So if you're going to put two people up, you want to put the two people up that aren't in any strong alliances. So this is where what Cody and I said week one, when we started putting out people in the bottom of the list, like a Christian who's very good at the game, as far as competitions, but he doesn't have anybody protecting him. And so he's still going to be a very enticing target for someone down the road. And that's why we hope you guys start to see that as far as our rationale behind this, because it's not only about how good you are at the game, it's how you set yourself up going forward with alliances. And if you don't have people to protect you, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
That is it, because you can't win every HOH, period, end of story. And if you don't have people behind you that are helping to win those HOHs, or numbers behind you that, okay, I'm on the block. Like, I know I have these 6 people that are going to vote or 5 people that are going to vote. Who are you playing with then? And I think the problem with, Christian's game right now is that he is, I think he has a false sense of security because the Royal Flush is not really an end-all be-all alliance. And we'll get more into that, obviously, when we're explaining why we have people in certain situations. So not to jump ahead to, people's positioning, but then we had the veto happen after the wild card, the nominations. Hannah, Whitney are nominated. Veto happens, and Christian puts another win under his belt, as if to not paint the target even bigger on his back. Like, why would you? He's just doing the most right now to show people this guy doesn't belong going near the end of the game because he could win out, and then you don't even have a chance. You know?
On top of that, doing backflip burpees.
That was... Let's talk about that for a second.
It was impressive.
I mean, I was blown away that this dude strung together 5+ backflip burpees. And like, I was like, dude, if he actually was like training at those, he probably could have did like 15. That was snap neck. I'm in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. I go for one of those. Crazy. Wildly
and then
athletic.
He did like a kung fu Then he did like a kung fu flip at the end. I was like, okay, brother, slow down.
Yeah, relax.
Easy.
Hey man, relax, okay? What are you doing here?
But you could see the girls, like, they're like, good job. But you could just tell their wheels were turning where they're like, oh my God, I could never beat him in a physical combat at the end. He's got to go.
And also they're probably like, you could see some of their wheels turning like, is this guy serious? Like, does he need more attention? Like, why is he doing this stuff? You know what I mean? Because like some of these girls are like that. Like Hannah was like, I don't really know Christian, and I don't care to get to know him. I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, no, he's not getting anywhere with her. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But no, Christian's, we'll dive into him in the hit list. But like you said, he wins the competition. Didn't need to. Yes, I know you want to keep the noms the same, but at what cost? Like you said, he's pitting a huge target on his back. So Christian wins the veto. He decides not to use it. Why would he?
Right.
He put these two people up. Why get more blood on your hands? So going into the eviction night, nominations are the same. But before we get into that, and I think we have to address this because it's a very minute thing, but it justifies the positions we're putting people in. What do you think of the disagreement between Kyland and Tiffany? It was a very minor one.
Yeah. Wasn't
anything serious.
Yeah.
But for people like you and I, who know how small things like this can
want to avoid
fester,
those.
There's a reason CBS put it in the show.
Correct.
Because they know these types of things can start small, but they become something bigger. So what was your takeaway? You're a former winner.
Yeah.
You know how these small conversations can come back to bite you. What was your takeaway?
I did not like in the slightest bit Tiffany's reaction, the way that she handled the conversation with Kyland. And I think it showed how I think it shows a lot of Kylan, how his personality and the type of person he is just kind of fits for the game of Big Brother, because he handled the conversation so well, so mature, so relaxing. Like, I don't want to have a disagreement. I want to explain to you why I'm sorry that I made you feel this way. And she wasn't having it. And then when he was trying to get his point across, she was just like, I don't understand why you even feel this way. It's like, wait, what? You just kind of threw a little bit of a hissy fit and then stormed into the room. He cares about your relationship, cares about you, knows he's working with you, so he wants to come in and settle it. I didn't like it, and it kind of showed a hair of, I got to be honest with you, I think Tiffany, although she is a great player in the game, she is going to hurt herself. I know she's getting the edit. I know, because she's the one that's doing a lot, because she's doing the most talking. I don't think she's going to get to that final 2 seat. I could see her kind of shooting herself in the foot and getting in trouble a little bit further down the line when the numbers really dwindle and she just can't help herself but either, get irritated, argue with somebody, because that thing with Kylan was so minute, and she talked so low to a group of people that were literally engaging on a high volume conversation, and none of them were trying to ignore her. It seemed like, especially that you have 3 Alliance members sitting right there talking, and they're not having a game talk. They're not whispering. And I thought it showed a little bit of kind of what's going to be going on with Tiffany as we get a little bit further down the game. As it gets really, the stress hits everybody hard when you get further down.
Yeah. Well, and you and I are nitpicking right now.
Right.
But we're talking about who's going to win this season.
Yeah.
But I completely agree with you. By the way, as I'm talking, Kyland is out.
Yes.
Kyland is out. He just fell off the wall.
Yep.
Kyland is out. So that conversation, I agree with you. My question, I left that conversation with the question of if she wasn't able to hide her emotion for something so minimal, what's going to happen when she hears about someone potentially saying to someone else, like, maybe I'll put Tiffany on the block. So for an example, Xavier comes to her and says, hey, just so you know, there's only 8 of us left, but Hannah was saying that, if she won HOH, she'd put you up. Is she going to have the ability to know that and not go confront Hannah or not show her emotions to Hannah that
in a conversation
she's upset with her? Because they're gonna know. And so she's gonna have to step that up. The other thing is, let's say in a perfect world for the cookout, they all make it to the top 6 or top 7, right? When Kyland or Xavier deciding on who, now that they've accomplished their goal, only one person can win. So within the cookout, who are you the tightest with? 2-3 weeks ago, I would have said Kyland and Tiffany are unbreakable. They had that very deep conversation. But now, this little tiff, if Kyland left there with a bad taste, if she left there with a bad taste, maybe that's a deciding factor for Kyland or for Tiffany not to go with each other.
Correct.
Because they're going to remember this awkward moment. So even though it's a minor thing, I completely agree with you that it could turn into a bigger thing down the road.
Yeah, and think about this, what also was said from another cookout member in Azza about Tiffany, with having the conversation with her about Hannah, not really agreeing, the two of them. And Tiffany's relationship with Hannah, if I'm being completely transparent, from watching the feeds and all this stuff, yeah, they were close, but they really bonded this week when she was going to bat for her and she was on the block. And so their relationship really strengthened this week. And then Azza was having a conversation with Tiffany, and it ultimately made Azza come to the conclusion, I have to be careful what I say to Tiffany. And when you have an alliance member, being careful with what they say to you, it's not a good thing, because that's starting to happen.
Early.
Yeah, not this early, because you're starting to see it now in the Royal Flush. Do you think that those rumblings aren't going to come from Sarah B? And now you have Azza saying it in the cookout. And do you think, now they're not showing every conversation. Do you think, like, Azza definitely has a great relationship with Derrick F. You think that they're not maybe talking about it a little bit? And so these are the conversations you don't want people happening. And they're so small, but that's all it takes in the Big Brother house. It's crazy.
I agree. And again, it was a minor thing. It may just be a blip in the story of Tiffany's game that turns out to be masterful.
Yeah.
But it's something worth addressing. But let's get to finale night, because we got to get through that. We still got to get to the hit list. We get to eviction night. Again, the speeches were okay. I didn't love them. They weren't nothing special. Whitney, this season is very kind of, again, a lot like 16, where it's very PC. They're very politically correct. They're not trying to make any waves. They want to go out there. They're plugging their Instagram feeds. They're unanimous votes. Everyone's loving each other. They're all the greatest people in the world. That's how it goes. So to get right to it, it's Whitney and Hannah on the block. There's really nothing to dive into. It's a unanimous vote. Whitney goes home 10-0. Any surprise for you?
No, not in the. I was waiting to see. I was like, ooh, is somebody going to throw a vote? Is somebody is it going to happen? Just to stir the pot. I was like, oh, come on, somebody do it. But they didn't. But, I don't know what it would have really done to the game. It would have caused a little bit of drama, but nobody did.
It would definitely would have caused some drama. Yeah. So Whitney's gone. Whitney seems like a great person. Honestly, this wasn't the game for her. And it's not a bad thing, because it's not for a lot of people. But again, this is someone that we've had at the bottom since for the most of this, because again, she just wasn't building real relationships that translated to the game. She was friendly with everybody. She was doing some flirting and all that stuff, but she wasn't crossing that boundary, that barrier of, I trust you on a game level. She was part of some things, but always at the bottom of everyone's list. And so when it comes down to it, when people start going home, Hannah, again, who is a better player, ends up staying, not because she's a worse player, but because what we talked about earlier, she has better relationships. She has the cookout, and that could be the difference between staying in the house or going home. And Hannah and Whitney proved that this week.
Yeah, and really what Derrick, it's just a good point, just touching on it a little bit more. She had nobody that was really like sitting there saying, Whitney staying is really good for my game, outside of SB, Sarah Beth. And so when you're in that situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was a ton of people, the cookout alliance, that are like, yeah, I don't think Hannah going home is good for any of us. So nobody was really saying that about Whitney. And Sarah Beth really was only saying it because she thought Hannah was more of a threat, not really because she thought Whitney was great for her game in the slightest bit. So that kind of wraps it up.
Nope, nobody had Whitney's back.
Yeah.
Poor Whitney.
Yeah, what are you going to do? She's out.
Poor Whitney. So let's dive into the hit list. We'll dive into the hit list, and I'm gonna try to keep us on track. We'll try to go a little quicker through the bottom this time, because we usually spend a lot on the bottom and less on the top. Yeah. But we'll go right into it. A lot of these first couple of ones are not going to be major surprises. No major mix-ups this week. So we'll get right into it. Bottom spot, again, should be no surprise to anyone. Hit them with it. Number 12.
Number 12 coming in at tier 4 on the hit list is Brittany. She doesn't move. She stays at the bottom. Just from conversations you're hearing in the house, Brittany's going to be on the block. She's going to be on the block, whether she's a pawn, whether she's up, and then, she's sitting next to somebody that has to stay, and then she just goes home. I think she's going to see a lot of the block in this back half of the season. And to be honest, it may get her pretty far in the game just because she's going to be the pawn. But at what cost? Mm-hmm. She doesn't really have a real substantial chance to win the game. That's why she's in a tier of her own.
And that's right. We like Brittany as a person, but I don't see a path. Cody doesn't see a path for her to win this game. Yeah. And you might be saying, how can that be? If you're in the game, you can still win. I think Big Brother's more like chess, where once pieces are put in place, although you're still in the game, it's just a matter of time before they choke you out. And so that's
what
you like that? It was deep, right?
Damn, you were thinking that all week, huh?
That just came to me.
That's how good you are.
But it was pretty good.
That's how good you are.
I was thinking, I was like, that was a pretty good analogy. But it's one of those things where you might still be, you're still there, but you're not.
Great analogy.
And Brittany she's on the board, but there's no path to victory.
As we are talking, did you just see what happened, D?
I think I'm a second or two behind you, so you tell everybody because you'll probably be telling me too.
She just fell right off the wall.
And so that's going to be it for. Oh, yep, she just fell for me.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Brittany. I didn't mean to, but it just yeah.
No, that's good. No, bye, Britt. And that was her really chance to come back and maybe win an HOH and maybe change it. But this is going to be a common occurrence for Brittany. You have it all the time. I love Victoria. Victoria was our Brittany. You know what I mean? And I love Victoria as a person, but there was no path for her to win. So Brittany's in the last spot. It's no hate. I know we have Brittany fans here. We're fans of everybody on the season, but we just don't see a path. So let's jump right into tier 3 because these people, although they're low, there is still a path to victory, a small one, but a path. So hit number 11. Want to go right with
number 11? We have Alyssa, and Alyssa, I actually really, really like Alyssa. She is showing so much more of an understanding of the Big Brother game. I almost hate having her at 11, but it's just what we were saying earlier about your positioning in the house. And what I don't love about Alyssa is her positioning in the house. It's so unfortunate because I think she's a good player with a good read on the game and has good relationships, but essentially she's attached to Christian. She doesn't have the Royal Flush Alliance. That really is they're not like the Royal Flush, all of us, we're going to the end together. There's the Cookout members that are inside of it that are like, we're going to use this to kind of protect ourselves, our other alliance, and just infiltrate, get information. And you saw how they use that information this past week. So that's why Alyssa kind of falls at 11 in my opinion.
It's right. It's spot on. But I will say this. Alyssa's still up there. She's starting to shake her hand a little bit.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is who we were talking about when I kind of foreshadowed it. Excuse me. Christian can't play this week, but Alyssa can. And Alyssa has the body structure to win in this type of comp.
Totally.
If she can win HOH tonight, then, we're not going to change it. It's locked in. The hit list is the hit list. But if she wins tonight, well, then they would probably move up to the top of this tier because now Christian and her are safe for the week. But, considering that there's still a strong probability she may not, she is in the right spot. And that brings us to our next person who's right with her, number 10. He moves down one spot. It's Christian.
Yeah, and Christian is it was a little bit of a toss-up between the two of them because you could almost flip-flop them because Alyssa probably won't be the immediate target. I think Christian probably will. But Christian's just won so many competitions. We kind of got to tip it off to him because he's been in, winning the comps, winning the HOH, being able to actually make a play in the game. But again, just in a position where he's going to be a target just because he's such a physical threat. Like, they were saying
if he don't win, he's going on the block.
Correct. So, and if Alyssa doesn't win, because right now we have Tiffany, Xavier, Derrick X, and Alyssa. Those are the 4 left. Oh no, there's 5 left. Oh, and Azah.
Yeah.
Azah.
By the way, Tiffany and Azah looking solid.
Yeah.
Tiffany hasn't. Oh no, I just jinxed her. She's moving a little bit, but Azah really hasn't moved. I mean, they're tiny girls, and I think they can. I think Tiffany, Azah, Derrick X looks solid too, but Xavier's still up there. He's starting to move his legs.
I don't see
why
Xavier
won't but he's a beast.
Xavier could win this easily just because of his mental toughness. He'll also maybe fight through, some of those struggles.
Yeah. I think I know why. He doesn't like the fact that Alyssa's still up there.
I was trying to look and see who,
because he doesn't like Alyssa being up there.
And it's more so, it's not even for him. It's because he wants to make sure he can protect the Cookout
exactly.
Alliance. It's, so.
Exactly.
Oof.
Exactly.
It's going to be interesting to watch. I'm excited to see it play out.
So
next
spot, number 9, moving down one. We heard you guys. We had him a little high. We're moving him a little lower because although he's there, although he's not making any enemies, he's not doing much. Yeah. But again, he's above Christian and Alyssa because he's protected. It's our boy, Derrick F. Moving down one spot.
I mean, Derrick F., if Alyssa wins this, would pop right below her, and then we'd move Alyssa up above Christian because Derrick F. is really only in a position right now because there is not a soul looking his way because he is a threat to nobody. He's a threat to nobody.
Yeah, agreed.
And he's got the Cookout Alliance that
he's not winning any
him.
physical comps.
Yeah. So
he's not winning physical comps. Doesn't seem like he's killing it mentally. Yeah. So he's there. He's a number, but I don't think anyone's looking at him like he's going to win this game. So he's going to probably go deep, but is he going to win? Not likely, but there's still potential there. And it's tough to be honest, but that's how we feel. He doesn't have a lot of the attributes you're going to need to win in that final, 2 or 3 weeks. And that's what it's going to come down to. And there are people that could be with him in that final 3 or 4 who have much stronger relationships with each other. They're final 2s. And he really doesn't have any solid ones that I'm aware of. So he could be in trouble. And I think this next person that you're going to bring up right now, number 8, who you're popping up on the screen as we speak, is going to be Azah. She's kind of in the same position. Azah moves up 2 spots. But Azah's moving up 2 spots because of what this whole theme is, which is as people go home, the Cookout gets stronger. And Azah is protected by the Cookout. And even though she's not playing the best game, in my opinion, she's definitely someone who's a great person. I said it last week, almost too nice to play Big Brother. But she's got the protection of the Cookout. So if she goes on the block, she ain't going home.
This is strictly, and this is the real thing why it's, when we talk about the hit list and positioning people in the house, Alyssa and Christian, in a game sense, are definitely playing a better game than these 2 that are above them. But in a position sense, they're not in a better situation in the house, which is why you see in this 3rd tier, we have Christian and Alyssa on the bottom part and Derrick F. and Oz on the top part. Which brings us into our second
I think we're right on.
Yeah, I think so too, bro.
Yeah,
and honestly,
hit him with it. Hit him.
I think you're seeing this play out. You're seeing our hit list kind of play out each and every week. And again, we're not like in this group. Alyssa didn't move. Christian drops 1. Derrick F. Oz goes up 2. Like they're all staying right in there. Which brings us to our tier 2 players, which I think are people that are definitely more implement in the game, playing the game. Definitely have good relationships that are holding them strong. But really could go now, especially with how this week played out, could go a lot of different ways based on who wins the HOH for some of them, which is actually why we get into Sarah dropping a spot.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense. I think Sarah had a rough week this week, and Sarah admittedly has said that when she doesn't get her way, she's not happy. She really pushed to have Hannah go home this week. She saw that it wasn't going to happen, and she pushed off of it. Good, smart for her.
Yeah.
However, I feel like she's another person like Tiffany that when she really sees she's not getting her way and she's in trouble, she might become even more vocal. I'm already seeing it on the feeds a little bit.
Yeah.
I want this person to go home because I don't like them.
Right.
And she's starting to show a little bit more of her personality. And I can see, not a bad thing, but I can see a little bit of different side of Sarah Beth than we saw the first couple weeks. She's starting to get comfortable in there. She's starting to be more vocal. I saw something where she's just like, oh, I just want that person to go home because I just personally don't like them, or I just don't want them to win or whatever. I'm like, it doesn't help your game to say that. It doesn't help your game to say that. So she could be in trouble, and I think she's on a lot of people's radar, especially people in the Cookout, because they realize how smart she is and that she's catching on. So Sarah Beth could find herself on the block very soon, and if she's on the block, I think the Cookout will make sure she goes home.
Because she's already named. When you have members of an alliance here that you are targeting one of your alliance members, you're not going to be in a good position, especially when they hold all the power to sending people home. And the other thing that I think really made Sarah Beth slide was Kylan essentially said, Sarah's my favorite person in the house. She's who I'm closest with, but I will send Sarah home. I will choose the Cookout over Sarah. So that's her number 1 person. In Sarah's eyes, her number 1 person is Kylan. And in Kylan's eyes, there's a whole alliance of 6 that's in front of her, even though he's who she's who he likes the most. So it's not a good,
You just nailed it. You just nailed it. Her ride or die. Her ride or die, in her opinion, is not even her ride or die.
Yeah.
So she's in trouble.
Yeah.
She's in trouble because her number 1 person in the house, the only person she trusts, will not go to bat for her. So, sorry, Sarah Beth, not looking great for you, but maybe you can turn around if certain people go home. Maybe you got a shot, but it's not looking good right now. We do have 2 more people in this tier. We'll hit it with number 6. We have, again, positionally, Hannah. Hannah's moving up 1 spot because of this week. We saw she was on the block. Unanimous vote. No chance of going home. So positionally, she's in a great spot. She's protected by the cookout. I feel like she shows her emotions a lot in her face, which socially isn't the greatest thing. You know, she's kind of like, you know, overt with her feelings. But again, right now, you know, they just have the numbers, man. They got the numbers, and she's looking good to go deep in the game.
Yeah, she's definitely looking good to go deep. I think, you know, if Sarah, that's what I was really hoping. I was like, I know it's an endurance comp, but I would love to see, you know, like a Sarah Beth win, to just really see like the house get shaken up a little bit. And now as a viewer, I totally understand what people are talking about when they watch like the seasons where there's just a group running through stuff. You're like, shake it up. But as players that have played, I'll watch through it because I have more of an understanding and respect for the people that are kind of letting it go smoothly, because it just shows how good of a game that they're playing. And that alliance, like the cookout, is just really playing a great game. But yeah, Hannah, I think Hannah's going to get in trouble. I think her mouth's going to get her in trouble. I think she's going to have no problem snapping at somebody. And you'll start to see it now when everybody, like in the beginning, everybody's a little like treading lightly. We're a month in. These people feel very comfortable around each other.
You forget the cameras are there.
Yeah. And so
you really do.
You sit there and, you know, because Sarah Beth, do you think she would say like normally early on, oh, I just want this person going home because I don't like them? She would probably be aware of that and not do it. But now you're starting to see people get comfortable and like, I'm comfortable to talk to you. So I'm going to speak openly. I did it with you. I was saying stuff to you and I got a little bit of heat on it because I was just talking, like, it was like Zach was getting on my nerves on season 16. And I was like, dude, I want to crack this kid. I love Zach now, you know, but I said that.
I was there that night.
So it's like, but you just but like, it doesn't mean that I don't love him. I fucking adore Zach. But you get to that point in the game where you're just comfortable around these people. And it's like a family. Like how your family pisses you off. People start getting on each other's nerves. And I think we have a lot of like, you know, Hannah's definitely a little snippy. I think she'll definitely throw daggers if somebody pisses her off.
Yeah, I agree. And we got to remember, too, although she's in the cookout, she was a late addition. Yeah. So where is she rank on the cookout list? Again, we're thinking long term when it's maybe just the cookout members left. Not looking great for her. She doesn't really have that ride or die except Derrick X, who's not in the cookout. Speaking of the cookout, we just had our girl. We just gave a little praise, moved her up 2 spots. Azza's down. So Azza's off the wall. But I did just mention someone else I know you're a fan of. He's our number 5 spot. Why don't you hit him with it?
Derrick X, still on the wall, still competing, doesn't move.
He's a beast, man.
He really is, man. I like him. I like him personally. I like his game. I like his smarts. Essentially, Derrick F is at 5, really because of how we see the Cookout Alliance. Derrick X. I'm sorry. We have Derrick X there because how we really see the Cookout. I think they're just going to slowly and methodically start just snipping people, and he's essentially going to be on that pecking order. He may win a comp that keeps him safe, but I really like Derrick X. I like him a lot.
Yeah, Derrick X is great, and I agree with you. If it wasn't for the cookout, he could be in the top tier. He has the potential to break a big alliance up because he's smart. He can see things. He might be able to win some comps, keep himself safe, but it's going to be difficult. But again, back to the competition because this is getting interesting now. Tiffany is down.
Tiffany just
so
went
now
down.
We're left with Xavier.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, Tiffany's down. So we have Xavier, Alyssa, and Derrick X. Alyssa's moving. She's shaking her hands. If Alyssa wins this week, this is not – she's hurting. She is hurting. But this is – if she can pull it off, it's not good. They do not want – this is the last person they wanted to win HOH this week.
Oh, man. This is but I got to tell you.
So we'll keep it going. Let's get into that top tier.
I just want to say really quick before we get into the top tier, not to toot a little bit, but like we just –
hit it.
The people that was like, Derrick X could kill this competition. And I've been saying this because we knew the endurance competition was coming up. I was like, I could see Alyssa, I could see Azza, I could see Derrick X. Like 3 of the like, hey, listen, I don't want to toot, but if we had a little toot thing that I would do,
We got to get one.
Yeah, we do. All right,
Little
get
trade
into tier one, baby.
No, Alyssa, if you guys can't see it, Alyssa's moving her legs a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's hurt or she's trying to jack herself up, but, I've seen people on the walls in past seasons where they look like they're hurting after a minute, but then they end up winning, because they just, mentally they go to a different place. But we'll get into our top tier, and hopefully by the time we're done with this top tier, we have some results for you. I think we will. I think this competition is coming to an end soon, because I think if Alyssa goes down, Derrick X or Xavier will immediately drop, or soon after, because neither of them want it. I don't think.
No, they shouldn't,
So,
and they shouldn't want it.
Top tier. No, this is a bad week to have it. Number 4, moving down a spot. We just talked about her, and we don't have to rehash a lot of the things we just said, but our girl Tiffany moving down to the number 4 spot.
Listen, I know.
Why do we have her there, Cody?
Yeah.
We already laid a lot of it out.
Yeah, we laid a lot of it out, and listen, I know we think Tiffany is a incredible Big Brother player. The reason why she is sliding is because you are seeing it constantly. When Xavier had a conversation, you're seeing some of the people that are at the top. When Xavier had to nominate Brittany and Xavier had that conversation with Azah, it was a smooth convo. It was a great conversation. It didn't make Azah trust him any less. When Tiffany had that same conversation, it seemed confrontational. And then a week later, we see Azah talk about Tiffany saying, I have to hold back at not telling her everything. You have Kylan go in and have a conversation where I thought he was incredible in the conversation. And you saw Tiffany it just wasn't her greatest conversation. Now, strategically, she is incredible. Like, just understanding the game. Like, this is how planning, her plans and her stuff that she's doing is great. But it's happening super, super early. There's so much game left. And if she continues on this path of telling people what they need to do, continuing to tell people, if we disagree, I don't really care. This is what I want. That's going to start bothering people as we get further down the line, and they're together for longer and they're trying to make decisions together. But Tiffany is really just trying to make the decision on her own. That's why solely this is more of a, there goes Alyssa.
She's down.
That is solely why I feel Tiffany slides a little bit. Now, we could see a week happen and Tiffany can bounce up 2 spots. She's that good of a player right now. But that's really the reason why she slides 1. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it. And we talked about the conversation earlier. Again, these 4 people, just like that's why we have the tiers. They could be interchanged, and it's all subjective, but and it may change week to week. If you have a bad week, you may drop a spot. Next week, we might be talking Tiffany might be in the number 1 spot, all depending on what happens. This game changes by the second. Wow, Alyssa's really upset, huh? But, this game changes by the second. And, for this week, especially after the segment we saw between her and Kylan, it just is it's a chink in the armor.
Yes.
And again, to get right into it, because of that conversation, because of her speaking a lot, talking a lot of strategy to everyone, coaching everyone, we have her at 4, and we have our man moving up above her 1 spot. Kylan. We have Kylan. Kylan has the potential to win this game, no doubt. All four of these people have the potential to win, no problem. I don't see all 4 of them getting there because they're going to take each other out, but all 4 of them do. Kylan, again, for the reasons we just said, why Tiffany had a bad week or a more difficult week, not even a bad week.
Yeah.
The way Kylan handled that conversation is the way you have to do it.
Right. You have to always. And this was something, season 16, young, super emotional, played super emotional. 22, there were so many times where I was like, God, I want to wear my emotions on my shoulders, and you don't. And I think that a lot of times helps, prolong your game to other people. Because then that conversation happens, and I don't know who Kylan talked to. Maybe he talked to somebody, and it's like, well, what happened between you and Tiffany? And then he was like, well, I didn't hear, and I tried to talk to her. And then if people start to hear those conversations, they'll be like, oh, man, I don't know, Tiffany. Like, even if they start, they'll be like, oh, I don't know, I think Tiffany overreacted. You don't want, like, it's crazy because these are such small things. This is like high school petty stuff that is very important in the Big Brother house. Mm-hmm. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Again, disclaimer, these people could swap next week, no problem. So we'll see how it works out. Moving up to number 2. And we discussed this before the show. I'm not as strong on her as much anymore. I still think she has the potential to win, but maybe not being as strong is the wrong phrase. I'm concerned about Claire because of the reasons we laid out last week as far as the cookout. Yes, she's safe till jury, but after that, I'm asking you this: who's her ride or die? Who's going to battle for her? Who's saving her if she's on the block?
Yeah.
Who's voting for her
No,
to stay?
she doesn't, because again, it comes to
It
comes to that same sense of, Christian thinking the Royal Flush Alliance is what's going to be taking care of him. And yeah, Claire, if the Royal Flush Alliance was the alliance, I would be like, nah, no way. But they're not the alliance. They're not the alliance that is controlling the votes. Mm-hmm. And so she doesn't have somebody going to bat for her, or she doesn't have a group that is behind, hey, Claire needs to stay. And especially with Tiffany kind of linking up to her, if she gets put up as a pawn, Tiffany and Claire, see you later, Claire. She's going home. It's just unfortunate she doesn't have, and she's a great player. It's unfortunate.
The reason she's in the top is because she's so smart, because she knows the game, because she's such a big fan. She's shown the ability to win a comp or two. Again, talking about chess pieces, she's got to make some. She's got to make some relationships, some alliances that are going to get her to the end. Why don't you hit him with the news? I know you're seeing what I'm seeing. I see your face turning. Yeah. Hit him with the news, because this is a big week for someone.
This is a huge week. So we just saw Derrick X lasted out. It's exactly what Derrick just said not even 5 minutes ago. Once Alyssa went down, you knew it was going to come to an end pretty quickly, because Xavier turned. He was saying something which neither of us can hear. And then Xavier went down. Derrick X stayed on the block. Alyssa's really upset because I think the writing's on the wall, to be honest.
She knows.
The writing's on the wall.
They know.
Yeah, because
they know.
You're not upset when you're sitting there with two other Royal Flush Alliance. You know what I mean? Like, why would you be upset? I'd be sitting there being like...
they know they're in trouble.
So they're definitely in trouble.
No, they know they're in trouble, and this is going to be real quick before we get into the top spot, because then we're going to probably end it after that. Derrick X is HOH. Yep. This is me just taking 10 seconds to think about it. If I'm Derrick X, or if I'm in Derrick X's brain right now, I think the initial nominations, because we don't have a wild card this week, so it's going to be straight up, no protections. Yep. Brittany's going on the block, and if I'm looking around, I would probably say Alyssa or Christian. I don't know his relationship with Sarah Beth. He's not putting up Hannah.
No, the problem is right here. So this is the problem that he's going to run into, which is why I'm sitting there and I got to be honest.
This is a problem, by the way.
Xavier, I'm sitting there being like, please, Xavier, please don't win this HOH. Like, please don't do this to yourself, because that's our boy. That's our pick from the jump. This is not a good week to be HOH for somebody in the Royal Flush Alliance, because Derrick X, if he's, so you think about the people that are not in the Royal Flush Alliance that he can nominate. There's 8 in the Royal Flush. There's then Brittany, Derrick F, Azza, and Hannah. So to the Royal Flush Alliance,
that's right. He might not go after the Royal Flush people.
Those are the 4 people that he needs to really look at.
You're right.
Hannah's not going near the block. There goes Hannah off the board. 3 people left. Azza, Derrick F,
save
Brittany.
For the week.
What does he do that
Brittany's going up 100%.
She has to. For his game, she has to go on the block. And then I would say...
And I just don't...
It's tough, man, because now you're going to look at this like, you think Hannah's not going to have a conversation with him? Because Tiffany gave her that information. Hannah's going to go to him and be like, Sarah Beth is coming for me. He hasn't divulged the information about the Royal Flush to Hannah. So this could be like a chink in his armor big time, because think about it. Another competition win. Now Hannah's going to come to him wanting Sarah Beth gone. For his game, that would be not good. Not a good move. Not a good move to get rid of Hannah. To get rid of Sarah Beth. And that would cause commotion. Like, anybody in the Royal Flush goes on the block, it's going to be trouble. And the problem for Derrick X is look what everybody's going to be saying. Everybody's going to want somebody on the Kings at least up. He can't put somebody on the Kings up unless he wants to blow up his game. Mm-hmm. It's trouble. This is trouble. Yeah. Trouble in paradise, baby. This is the game we love.
But just like we say every week, though, your HOH reign can make or break you.
Totally.
So we could be talking after this week where Derrick X drops 2 or 3 spots, or we could be putting him in tier 1 based on how well he does. He's that close. He's number 5. He's top of tier 2. He could be in tier 1. We could have 5 people in tier 1 after this week. We'll have to see. It's going to be tough. But without further ado,
take away the top spot.
The number 1 spot on the hit list. Yeah, our boy just made a great move. Xavier, number 1. And this is why we have him at number 1 because could he have stayed up there longer? It looked to me like he could have. And out of, being a D1 athlete, he probably would have fought it out at least for a while. But he doesn't care. Ego was checked at the door when he came in there. He don't care. He just wants to win the $750,000. He don't care about the individual accolades along the way. Hey, Derrick X. They were talking back and forth, so we might learn after this episode that they made a deal or whatever. But whatever the deal was, I don't need to listen to know that that Xavier made the better deal.
Yeah, totally.
As long as he doesn't go on the block this week.
Totally.
As long as he doesn't go on the block, he made the better deal.
Bro, spot on. I was watching tonight and like Xavier came in, did his eviction. I vote to evict Whitney. Thank you, Julie. Got up, left. I was like, this dude's here for business. There is no fucking
Same
around
thing with Claire.
Xavier. There is no messing around. And then after that I was like, I love this guy. I love Xavier. He's just awesome. Yeah. And so I'm really happy for him because
he's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's the real deal. He's got all the attributes. He's got all the positions. He's got ride or dice. He's got a huge alliance. There's not much of a flaw in this game. The only thing that could happen is, he's so good at the game that nobody thinks they can beat him in the end, which is always the case with good players. Yeah. And so that's a risk you run when you're playing a good game. If somebody else is, the skill of observation, they may notice what we're noticing, which is, wow, everybody likes Xavier. Everyone likes him. He's good at competitions. You could even have someone like a Tiffany say, I love Xavier, but I can't beat him. And I think Tiffany, there's not a single person in that house Tiffany won't cut if she doesn't think she can beat him.
She's a beast.
So she's a beast. So I like our list. Again, we're looking it over. You guys can see it in front of you right now. We're starting to focus in here, guys. Yeah. Again, looking at it, we'll see how it all turns out. But the biggest fluctuation that we had was a +2 for Azah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. We could have cheated and put her down one more and only made it a +1. But we're starting to hone in on here. And if you guys are following along and you're watching the show and you're watching the feeds, you can see that there's going to be micro adjustments week to week from now because people are starting to lay out their chess pieces for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we can see those pieces. So we're kind of anticipating what's going to happen. So, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. This could be the week that Brittany goes home, but if she's on the block next to someone who's a threat at all, like a Sarah Beth, Sarah Beth is gone. Yeah. Sarah Beth is gone.
Yeah, the only way that Derrick X can get away with this is if he does it as a backdoor, and then be prepared for a lot of people to be in some trouble because if Sarah Beth goes on the block, I will tell you this with all the confidence in the world. She will 1,000,000% blow up the alliance, talk to everybody, tell everybody what's going on because I do not see her being the person that's like, I'm just going to let this happen. I don't see Sarah Beth as that person. So if that does happen,
she's gonna fight. She's gonna fight.
So I'm eager to see how this week plays
out. Either way,
here's
that's the good news. That's the good takeaway from this is, this last week was a little boring. There wasn't a ton going on. Everyone knew Whitney was going to be the target. Yeah. This week is where the game starts to get played.
Yes.
And I think we're in for an interesting week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot to talk about. Is there any final thoughts before we put a bow on this?
No, just there was something that I wanted to bring up that was funny. I just was eating in the middle of watching. I didn't write it down, so I forgot it. But no, I think I'm excited because we're in that final week before the jury, and then it's like the game's really going to pick up because, maybe this week, I wrote it down. There was only one person outside of I already crossed Whitney off. There was only one person that's in a position where they're just really nowhere in the house, and that was Brittany. Everybody else has a bigger alliance that they're working with, and so it's also I can't wait to see that just go to shit and blow up and start seeing the targets start crossing paths and be like, well, how didn't you know about this? Aren't you close with them? Or wait, what's happening? My alliance is nominating me. I can't wait. This is the part that I'm really looking forward to, and it's going to show who's the better players. Who's the better players that can get through that?
I agree. Shots are going to be fired very soon. We're interested. We're in for a good second half of the season. As always, first and foremost, let me thank everyone if you made it to the end of the video, if you made it to the end of the podcast. Although the audio version, we're pretty good at that. You probably won't notice too much, but appreciate anyone who stuck with us till the end. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. We'll be back to our regular scheduled program next week when I'm back in the studio. But until then, We appreciate you guys joining us here on the Winner's Circle. We will have our interview with Whitney this week as well. Make sure if you're not following on us on Instagram, you go over there and do that. It's Winner's Circle Cast, C-A-S-T. On Instagram, we'll have a photo up. You can leave your comments on as far as a question you might have for her. Maybe you'll be one of the ones we pick. But we do appreciate you guys checking us out. Please give us a review if you've made it to the end. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal by now. We really appreciate it. The channel's growing. We couldn't do it without you guys. And in fact, I think this is worth mentioning. Cody knows this, but TV and film for Apple Podcasts, we were in the top 50 this week. We've only been around for 5 weeks, so we could not do it without you guys. Totally. And you don't know how much it means to us. We enjoy this. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun interacting with you guys. And to be able to get that feedback from you through the charts, you guys are answering the call because we asked for that. We asked you to help us out. You did it, so thank you. We appreciate you. We love you for that. And that's the Winner's Circle. We'll see you next week. Hopefully this video isn't completely screwed up.
We'll be okay. See you guys.
We'll see you guys later. Have a good night, guys. Later.